Oh, okay. This next review here, let me just look here. A little over an hour of time, and I'm up to, let's see, 75, 76. I'm going to go from 1977 and probably archive it up to 1979. Let me decide on the exact date range on that one. In any event, here I was, someone that was beginning to enter into a transition of a profession. I keep referring to that backyard neighbor. Tremendous influence, very positive, very high level substance. And that was about to change because I was about to start driving. And let me share with you that when I was 17, I had some guys trying to bully me in high school. And they never really did. I've never been bullied. I'm very fortunate in that respect. That is because I was such a strong athlete. Okay? That's a whole different environment in high school. I mean, you're not about like, there's quite a few students there and many different personality types. And they took my calculator, they threw it out the window. I think that happened when I was 17. Out the bus window. I'm not going to say the specific names, but I can say it was a period that I was about to make a tremendous amount of growth at a very early age. I came home one day in November, and the garage door between the family room and the garage was open. There was this reeking of smell throughout the house. I didn't have the slightest clue to know what happened. And my mom didn't come home around 4:20 like she always did. And it was an hour or two later. I didn't know what happened. And we went out to eat, and she explained to me my father tried to commit suicide. I was like, what? I'm 17 years old. And I didn't know wow. She explained to me, and I began to understand very much about something that I didn't know anything about. And maybe it's good it happened at an early age. Those social sciences I learned at a very early age. Okay? And those guys tried to bully me. It was like, it was about, it took a little time to sink in. It was in November. Those guys tried to bully me, and man, that's the only time in my life. Wow. I recovered from it. It was very early to be woken up to something in that respect. I didn't understand when my father would do that. I didn't understand it. I do understand, I understand everything now, and I fully accept that they were fantastic parents. Okay? I was making a transition into adulthood, and I was pursuing a field that should have lasted me for the rest of my life. I will share that in the coming up years, okay? But that was, and I'm the one who chose to deal with that, appropriately in the coming up future. I fully accept it. I am absolutely amazed at my father, even though, just amazing what he achieved. I look so up to him, and yet I can go all into that, but I already have, and so it's fully understood. Okay, I would say 17. Experienced something like that, my reaction was completely proportional, although very radical. Okay, it was dealt with exactly how it should have been. And I'm the one that decided. So that transition into adulthood, you know, I'm extremely fortunate with the business background that I have. Extremely fortunate. Do you know I didn't know anything about outsourcing? That's the honest truth right there. And it is a significant challenge to make that transition. And I would say it's 17, because this next review I'm going to do is 17 through, how many years am I going to include in this review here? Now, we're talking about that I'm pursuing a professional career, okay, that definitely led into some very, very valuable experience. And, you know, for me, yeah, I was unique. I was very fortunate, I understand. Building on curiosity, all of that's normal. I'm very fortunate. I'm a lifelong learner, and I had fantastic parents. I don't know why that happened. Now, something happened that my dad knew about, that I didn't understand what was going on. So my mom explained everything, but that's all been, you know, that's all accepted. They were fantastic parents. I look so highly to my dad. Now that's at age 17. Okay, and then there was 18, and there was graduation when I was 19. And then you begin to go into a transition of where, you know, you make a transition of independence and adulthood. Now, what I can honestly say, if I knew about outsourcing, I very seriously considered the air conditioning refrigeration field set for life, for sure. But instead, you know, Wayne Cole, as I mentioned throughout these videos, you know, it was electronics, and I became very good in that field, specifically analog technology, electronics field. It's true, I did, you know, that transition to adulthood. Now I'm about to share something that's going to be most interesting, and I definitely want to share this with you. Okay? I graduated high school in 1979, and particularly strong in the technical field, straight A's. And very interesting what I've learned from, you know, learned about myself. And why did that happen? That I ended up with a GPA of 1.7. Everyone, I'm considered on the very high side, and the amount of experience I have in the social sciences is at very high. I've read a lot of bachelor's and master's. I've invested a tremendous amount to continue building on curiosity, growth, maturity indefinitely. See, it became experience for me. I was subject to a very successful background of people who create success at a very early age. Okay? And that it happened that way for me. See, so I know how to create success. And yes, thy Creator's wisdom is the utmost importance. You need it. You need it. And so, for me, it was more in a specialized technical field initially. Now that was, you know, how I gained expertise, and if I knew about outsourcing, I would never had anything to do with electronics field. I would have gotten right into air conditioning refrigeration. I'm going to begin sharing now about the surrounding areas of where I grew up. Lake Forest, Highland Park, Glencoe, up and down the Chicagoland North Shore. Okay, because I began driving. My parents were great parents. I understand that regardless of whatever happened in my dad's background, that were certain limitations. Okay, now I'm talking basically it's 17 years old right there, and it didn't happen that quick, that growth. Okay, I'm skipping ahead quite a few years there at this point. Okay, but I just know my parents were wonderful parents. They were most loving, and what they didn't know or what was, you know, I understand my mother had a bachelor's degree in psychology, and, you know, I learned very early on to take responsibility, and I became, you know, so that transition to adulthood, I think I'm going to label this 19, because we all face challenges, you know, and we do, but I understand everything I know is I've never deviated from the norm. I've learned it from other people, of things I didn't know anything about. See, that's how I can express this now. It was a one-time thing that happened. I had some kids bullying me in high school, and, you know, I explained what happened there. It was just, that's a young age to experience something like that. I understand actually no family is perfect, but yes, the childhood and the background that I come from is completely normal. I'm extremely fortunate in that respect. Now, with me, as I've mentioned, it was a technical expertise, but that just is the beginning, because truly I was able to achieve some extremely high-level substance as far as business expertise. That I do want to share with you. I'm extremely fortunate in that respect. And so let me do this. Let's see, I want to keep these down to 15 minutes because there's a limitation as far as the upload. After 15 minutes, what I'm working with here, man, I had most supportive parents that did everything they could to help me. Couldn't ask for better. It's fantastic. I'm going to share some aspects of what I can absolutely promise you that makes me most interesting. I understand it's completely normal. I've bounced it off at the highest level of expertise in the healthiest context, and I've learned it all. And I am a lifelong learner, and I'm equivalent to someone who has equivalent to a PhD in math, more for sure the bachelor's, but definitely into the master's and PhD. Particularly, I've done I've read a ton of books, you know, that fully explain the social sciences, and you know, I mean, and in high school, I mean, we're just being introduced to what's going to come later in educationally or college. I mean, very high level substance. I was able to gain some what I understand, what I have learned here is very valuable experience. Now, just so you know, no, I've never deviated from the norm, ever. And if there was anything, believe me, I would always deal with it in the healthiest context. And that's exactly what happened there. Okay? I punched some guys out, is what happened. It was really, I mean, sure, I'm certainly not a person at anything, you know, But relative to what happened there, you know, they're the ones that were just kidding around. And wow, you know, they already had bullied me a little bit and drew my calculator out. I mean, I told the principal, you know, I'm not an ARC. I'm a person that's, you know, never been someone that has ever had any issues. And you know, I mean, not perfect, but oh, certainly the growth is absolutely spectacular on me. And I'm the one who chose that, okay? I was exposed to the social sciences and an understanding of them at a very early age, okay? And the only thing I have any history of is individual counseling. That is it. Now, there was one time, okay, and that event when I was 17, that never, ever again, okay? Very low-keyed individual. I've learned I'm intelligent and interesting. I had great parents. I had a great childhood. I think I'm going to label this and the transition to adulthood. Okay? That's where I want to pick it up, I think. There's a lot in this review, and I'm over 15 minutes here. This is going to start getting lengthy. So, yes, I learned about the social sciences and the healthiest context at a very early age. And only one time. I have such a spotless record overall. I'm so fortunate in that respect. Thank you. Thank you for letting me share my background as I make a transition into adulthood. I would say I'm going to label this 75, 76, 17 up to what would be a good time? I think I'm going to do it 22. Let's do it 21, okay? Let's do it 21, my legal age there. Which, nope, I've had 1 or 2 beers in my life, and that is it. Thank you.